Hello and welcome to the Fight Life Nation podcast. Oh man, let me tell you guys, I cannot wait to look back in a few months and see how far this podcast has come because I'll tell you what right now, trying to just get everything in organization, trying to learn how to use thumbnails, trying to learn how to hook up the computer right and the camera right so everything works. It's a real pain in the butt, but I'm learning. All right, guys. So today is the first day, the very first episode of Today in Combat Sports. That is a working title. I do not know if I will change it. We'll find out. I keep looking at my monitor. I guess I should look at the camera. But yeah, I wanted to do this because even though I'm not super into talking about like the major brands like UFC and Bellator, I realized if I want to build an audience, I got to actually talk about some of that because there's not as big an audience as possible just talking about the local shows, but it's the local guys that I'm gonna excuse me, I'm sorry about that. It's the local guys that I'm really gonna concentrate on. So the first thing I want to talk about in the UFC, and now I got some slides, guys. So let's see how this works out. The first thing I want to talk about on the stream, it just broke. I'm sorry about these white borders. I'll try to get that fixed on the next one. I'm learning. The first thing I want to talk about, and these aren't my photos, these are courtesy of MMA fighting, actually, I believe. Some are MMA fighting, some of them are uh, the UFC. No, some of them are MMA fighting, some of them are ESPN. So the first one is Benil Dariush suffered a leg injury. They're saying his ankle got hurt. And it's kind of a bummer because I just saw Benil Dariush. He was at True Promotions too, and he was cornering one of the fighters. I was really looking forward to this fight. I think he has a good style that can give Islam Makhachev a challenge. He was supposed to face Islam next week. Obviously, now that's not going to work out. But Bobby Green is actually the guy who stepped in. Bobby Green, who just came coming off of a fight off of Nazrat Haparas. Forgive me if I can't say his name right. One day I'll learn how to say names, but he's just coming off a fight where he looked special. He looked really good in that fight, and he dominated. I thought when this fight was announced that Dariush had pulled out, I was trying to think of some of the names that would work best. I'm in a group chat actually. I'm in the MMA Joey channel's group chat. MMA Joey is a YouTube channel that you guys can subscribe to. He's an awesome broadcaster. I highly suggest you check him out. But I was in his group chat and we were talking about like who could be the next contender. And one of the names that came up was Bobby Green. There was Tony Ferguson. There was Michael Chandler. All these names. There was a few names, but they just didn't seem like they would be relevant. Like you couldn't really make those fights. No one's gonna step in on a week's notice, getting paid that much. You could have brought in Arman Tazukian. I guess he was on the undercard. And then there was another guy, Joey Alvarez, I believe. He was on the undercard. I think Islam's beat them both. So you could have done those fights just to fill in. But actually bringing Bobby Green in, this is a great fight. He stepped up. He's got a lot of momentum. I know I'm a local channel that I wanna speak a lot on. Bobby Green's from Fullerton. He fights out of or not Fullerton from Fontana. Fights out of Riverside County, San Bernardino County. I can't wait to watch this fight. I favor Islam Makhachev. He's probably going to take him down. He's probably going to wrestle him to death. But you know what? If you don't know how to wrestle, that's just part of the game, man. You got to learn. You can't be a hater on all these wrestlers and then say you like MMA. I really believe that. I think if you are an MMA fan and you say that you hate wrestling, you got to question what you're really a fan of. Because you know what? I got a sport that you can watch, and we'll talk about that later. But it doesn't have any wrestling in it. But if you're gonna watch the UFC, wrestling's a big part of the game. You look at all the champions, all the great champions right now. Kamaru Usman. Uh, you look at what Khabib was. You look at let's see who else. Not now that I think about it, there are a couple wrestlers that are gone. But Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira is a wrestler. Who's that heavyweight? It's Francis. He doesn't wrestle. but he won by wrestling, which is kind of funny. 125, who is it? Figueiredo? I wouldn't say he's a wrestler. Jan's not a wrestler. Volkanovski wrestles. Wrestling is very big. I mean, there was a period not too long ago where almost all the champions were wrestlers. Excuse me. I feel like every time I go live, I just have to burp. Maybe it's like a nervous thing. But yeah, I highly think this is gonna be a fun fight. It's next week. It's gonna be on ESPN Plus. I think all their fights are on ESPN Plus if you watch them there. Sometimes they show them on ESPN. But I highly recommend this fight. This is gonna be a fun fight to watch. Uh, this week there's a fight. Johnny Walker. This is Saturday. Johnny Walker's taking on Jamal Hill. I gotta be honest, guys. I'm not that stoked about this fight at all. I think you really gotta be a hardcore to be into this card. I consider myself a hardcore. I am gonna watch. I enjoy watching, but it's just not a card to look forward to. Jamal Hill, I picked against him when he fought Jimmy Crute, and he ended up beating Jimmy Crute. So I'm holding that against him. But that being said, I think he's gonna beat Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker came into the UFC on a house of fire, coming off the Contender Series. He had like 3 wins in a row, but he's just not the same guy he used to be. His last fight, he like had a whole bunch of feints. It was just a very unimpressive fight. I think Jamal Hill's got to be the favorite link coming into this. In fact, if you look closely, I think he's a minus 200 favorite. That's crazy odds. I think if you were a betting person, you want to bet, I think you've got to put some. I think the money's good on Johnny Walker because those are really crazy odds. Walker still has power. I just don't like his style. I think if he changes his style and he comes in with more aggression, he might have a chance. But who knows? You know, it's not a fight that I'm super stoked about. Kyle Dawkis versus Jamie Pickett. A couple other guys that were on the Contender Series. I'm not super stoked about that. Let's see. None. Jim Miller's on the undercard. That's kind of cool. Jim Miller, he's been fighting for almost as long as I've been a UFC fan. I want to say he started back in like 2007, but I'd have to go look that up. He's been fighting for a while. Also on the undercard, you got Joaquin Buckley. So you're gonna see that spinning kick again. I know everybody likes to see that spinning kick, but that seems to be like his only highlight. My favorite thing is when Kevin Holland knocked him out. But I'm just being a hater there. Joaquin Buckley ain't that bad. He's a good guy. We'll see what his next fight comes out. This card, like, it's not nothing to be too joyous about, to get psyched up about. Like some of their cards have been. Jessica Rose Clark is an interesting name. I'm a big fan of the women fighters. I like to follow the women's division. Here goes another women's fight that's on the card. Diana. Yeah, I'm gonna kill those names. Gloria DePaula. That's just an interesting name. Let me see if I can bring that up closer so I can see. Yes. So that's Diana Belbita. Yeah, and then versus Gloria DePaula. That's gonna be at strawweight. And then Jessica Rose Clark is fighting at bantamweight, which is a very empty division. So Jessica Rose Clark coming off a couple years where she wasn't doing so well. She's getting a little bit better. She's on a little bit of a streak. It's good to see her healthy and ready. She's a heavy favorite in this fight, a minus 190. I think that's actually a safe bet. I would pick Jessica Rose Clark, but who knows? My picks are horrible. This is the last of the card. Yeah, like I'm telling you guys, I don't know any of these guys. I'm not going to pretend that I know any of these guys. I'm not going to pretend that I care about any of these guys. But this is the UFC card that's fighting on Saturday, ESPN Plus, if you guys want to watch. On to other news. AJ Mckee. Hold on, let's go back. AJ Mckee, this is a picture I took of him. This is my picture. I don't have to claim this for anybody else, but this is AJ Mckee. This is at his show that he did in the city of Hawaiian Gardens at the Metroflex 2, the brand new Metroflex. Anyone familiar with working out, like bodybuilding, Metroflex is big into that. They do a show there. It's Antonio Mckee, AJ's dad. He puts it on. It's called Knockout Promotions. It was pretty exciting. This one was from 2 shows ago. I believe it was in September. But yeah, he was there. That's when he was showing off the belt. being fancy. He's a real cool guy. He posed for this picture for me. Couldn't ask for a nicer guy. But his fight got announced. He'll be fighting Pitbull in the rematch. This is a rematch that had to happen. Pitbull, I think he just got overwhelmed that first fight. I don't know if he showed the best version of himself. I don't root against AJ McKee, but I want to see Pitbull do better because I don't think Pitbull's a bad fighter. I think he's a great fighter. They have him here ranked in MMA fighting rankings at number 6 in the world. That sounds about right. Maybe even you can argue that he could be even lower as far as high or higher in the ranks, I guess, like 5. But he's an excellent fighter. AJ McKee, they rank him at number 3. So you figure they got Volk, probably Max Holloway, and then AJ McKee. That makes sense. That's fair. Let's go before I I went forward too much. All right, the next fight I want to talk about is this one right here: Corey Anderson versus Vadim Nimkov. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm a big Bellator fan. I just know this is the guy that beat Ryan Bader. I believe it is. He beat Ryan Bader, so he's the new guy. I am not a fan of Corey Anderson. Just to show you how good these guys are ranked, though. I mean, this is overall rankings. They put UFC and Bellator combined, and they have Vadim Nimkov at number 4, and they have Corey Anderson at number 5. So these guys are ranked as really good light heavyweights. I don't know. I don't know if that's where I would rank them. Corey Anderson, he's had some great fights, but I've seen him get knocked out. I'm not a Corey Anderson fan. He talks too much. Talks too much gibberish sometimes. I don't know. Some guys they rub me the wrong way. I'm just a fan though, man. Like don't look for me to be an expert on these guys. Now let's talk about a fight that's coming up. This is Fight Club OC. Fight Club OC. This is an old pick I got of Christopher Cruz. He's fighting on that card. This is a club. This is a show that's going to be in Orange County in the city of Costa Mesa. I'm gonna look up on Tapology real quick. I want to let you guys know who's on this card. Let's see. Hold on. Tapology. You think I would have already pulled this up, but I'm kind of slow. Fight Club OC. What's cool about their shows in Costa Mesa at the Hangar is they do both boxing and MMA. So let's see. Fight Club OC. This one's 1101. Let's see, 69. That's a December card. 70? Yep, this is it right here. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so another thing that I really like about this is Roy Engelbrecht, and forgive me if I said his name wrong. You guys want to check out a card that's well produced and well presented. This guy puts on some awesome cards. I mean, he always I was at his cards at the Queen Mary. It was an awesome show. I was at his cards when he was at the Coliseum. Both shows were very awesome. The fights are always 50-50. So on this card, and once again, forgive me. I guess it might be a nerve thing. I don't know. But on this card, you got the big names that I see is Christopher Cruz versus Victor Sindor. This is 0-1, and Cruz is actually making his debut. It looks like. I want to know if this is a. I want to say this is an MMA fight, but I'm wondering if he's making his pro debut in boxing. I'm pretty sure it's an MMA fight. He's been on the verge of going pro for a while. I actually thought he went pro because I lost track of him a little while ago. He's an awesome fighter. When I watched him, he was great at grappling. That was his strong suit. If you get a chance to watch this guy that's in the picture right here, Christopher Cruz, he's an awesome fighter to watch. The other guy that's going to be on the card, Curtis Milliner. He's a former UFC fighter. Right now, I believe he's in the PFL. He signed to the PFL. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's out of the PFL, but he's an awesome fighter too. He's going to be on this card. Curtis Milliner's facing Johnny Mauricio. That'll be a fun fight. That is a boxing fight on that one. That's a boxing fight. The Milliner fight will be a boxing fight. I believe the Christopher Cruz fight will be MMA. The reason I get confused, like I say, they put on both MMA and boxing, so it throws me off. They have Milliner's record at 0-0-0, so I'm thinking that's his pro debut in boxing. I'm surprised Cruz is making his debut. I just saw that. Sorry, I didn't know that ahead of time. But yeah, dude, I highly recommend if you get a chance to watch a Roy Engelbrecht fight. He has really good cards. If you're here in the Southern California area, that's the place you want to go to. They make really good shows. Once again, I remember I went to the show at the Queen Mary. That was a lot of fun. I went to the show at the Coliseum. It was Gladiator Challenge, I believe, is what it was called. That was a lot of fun. That was a fight that Kay Hansen actually debuted at. She made her amateur debut. I was there for that. If you go on the Fight Life Nation Instagram channel, you can look at pictures from all those events. They were awesome. That was back when I had my old camera. Well, they weren't as professional looking, but they're pretty good. The people liked them. That's what mattered. All right, but that's that fight. Highly recommend it. It's actually tomorrow. It's on a Thursday, so it's kind of fun to have fights in the middle of the week. That way, you're not waiting until Saturday all the time. These are fun. The next one I want to talk about. It looks like we're up to it. We're going to talk about Fighters Rep. Fighters Rep's happening on Friday night. And I want to tell you there's a few reasons why you got to watch this Fighters Rep show. I know I've already talked about it in my last video. I've had a couple interviews. I had George Francis on. I had Luis Moreno. I wanted to have a couple other people, but I kind of ran into a problem. I started this thing on Friday night. So Friday night I had George Francis, the promoter, and then Saturday I had Luis Moreno, who's on the card. He's a fighter on the card, and then I wanted to have other guys, but then you run into the problem of it's Super Bowl time, and you're like, okay, I can only have, like I can't ask these guys to try and do an interview on this show and it's Super Bowl because I know they're going to be busy. I had my family I was with. It's a hard time to do anything. And then after that, with the card being on a Friday, weigh-ins are on a Thursday. How much do I really want to bother these guys when they're trying to drain and cut weight? I mean, it's not that any of these guys are bad dudes. They're all probably, a lot of them probably would have came on. But am I going to get the best conversation out of them while they're drained? I'd rather talk to them after the fights. We'll have even more to talk about. I think it's going to be a better interview when I talk to some of these guys. I really want to have this guy right here. This is Vinny Pham. He's an awesome fighter. I can't wait to see him. He won. He knocked out Gabriel Silva. He's coming to make his pro debut. He wanted to make have another IKF amateur fight. And this gentleman that's in back, kind of looking off in the distance, that's George Francis. That's the guy that we talked to. George convinced him, hey, you should make he just told him, he was like, hey, you should make your pro debut because I don't know if all the trouble of trying to get the best amateur fight that you could is going to work. He wanted a world title. That means they would have probably had to fly somebody in. It would have been a big hassle. It would have had to been an approved opponent. George didn't think that that was the best option, and Vinny went with his advice. He talked to his coaches, talked to his management, and that's where he chose to go professional. Another guy that's on this card, David Pacheco. You want to go watch a fun fight, go to fightersrep.com. I will upload the links into the description. They're not there as we talk, but I will put the links into the description. David Pacheco versus Andrew Nguyen was just an awesome fight. It was just a back and forth war. I put it up there with any other fight that you can watch that you would call a war. And I'm a combat sports fan. Excuse me. I'm a combat sports fan. So I highly recommend you check that fight out. But David Pacheco is going to be on this card. Let's just see a couple of highlights from his fight that he had with Andrew Nguyen. Here's one I went with black and white. It was kind of weird lighting, so I made some on black and white. But this is a really cool one where he lands a good shot. Here's another one. He's throwing a hook against him. I mean, if you watch it, Pacheco actually hit the deck early. Nguyen caught him. And when he got up, he was hurt. And when he got up, he didn't recover right away. He got in a war, and Nguyen was really hurting him throughout the whole fight. He was hurting him. But Pacheco just turned the tide around and was able to come back, win the war. This is a really cool shot I got of him. I like the image of the body. It's good times. This is gonna be a fun one, man. I cannot wait to see this fight. but this will be real fun. Let's see. Let me get my face back in this. There you go. That's a good way to see my face. I forgot that I wasn't on camera, but I really don't care how much I'm on camera. It's not really what I was going for. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties that I'm still trying to learn how to use this stuff. All right. Carrying on. Another fight on this card. You gotta watch this guy. Go ahead and Google him. Oscar Mueller. It's spelled Moller. Oscar Mueller, but I guess you pronounce it Mueller. The kid is a beast. The kid goes out there and fights. Uh, he is strong. He's fast. He has aggression. He's not a reckless fighter. He fights very. I'm trying to think of the word technically. He's a fun fighter to watch, though. I highly recommend you watch it. Here he fought Joshua Fochman, another guy who is a good fighter, fun to watch. Mueller won this fight. This was a great fight. This is from Fighters Rep. I believe this was Fighters Rep 10 because Mueller was in attendance for Fighters Rep 11. This is actually the guy Vinny Pham wanted to fight after he knocked out Gabriel Silva. He called out Oscar Mueller, and George didn't know if it was going to be okayed by the IKF to be a world title fight. That's how he described it. These are George's words. He's made public videos talking about it, so I don't think I'm saying anything that shouldn't be said. Here he is, Oscar Mueller landing a good shot. I mean, this is a fight that I'm really looking forward to. They're going to be a fun fighter to watch, dude. I really like taking pictures like this. This is the kind of picture I really enjoy taking, where you got the flag, he's representing his country, he's excited. I think these are the best kind of pictures. Almost, I would say these are better pictures than the pictures of the fight. Even though the when you get a clean punch, those are fun to get. I really like taking these kind of pictures. Here goes Melvin Guerra. I cannot tell you how excited I am for his fight. He's fighting Edgar Zaragoza. I made the video about it on my last video. I can't wait for that fight. Edgar Zaragoza, he's so exciting to watch. Melvin Guerra was exciting to watch. These two together, it'll be really interesting. Like I say, is Edgar Zaragoza can be hit. All right. He's not unhittable. So to see Melvin Guerra hit him, it's gonna be interesting because Guerra has power. And I don't think Zaragoza is gonna run as much as Flores. And I don't mean as Guerra's last opponent, Alejandro Flores. And I don't mean that as a knock to Alejandro. I mean that as Alejandro Flores, I think in the middle of the fight versus Guerra, decided he wanted to survive, and he moved around a lot. I don't think Zaragoza is going to do that. Zaragoza is going to be going for a win the whole time. Here goes another shot. This is a cool shot. You can see his body, see his tattoo. I'll be interested to see if he did more of his tattoo. But I guess it's kind of hard because you don't get paid. You're an amateur fighter, It's not my business to say anything else other than that. But I know as an amateur fighter, you're doing it. You're an amateur. You don't get paid. But he's got to finish that tattoo. That would be dope when it's done. Here goes the guy that I got. You guys got to watch. I didn't put a lot of his slides in this presentation. Cameron Spencer. You got to see this kid. I apologize if using the word kid is the wrong word to use because he's a grown man. He's a badass fighter, is what he is. He's built like a badass fighter. I'm hoping to have him on as soon as the fight is over, sometime this weekend, if not next. I just think this guy is the future. As far as I think he said he fights from 185 to 205. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think 185 is probably a better weight for him because even though he's a big dude, he can make 185 pretty easy. He said it's no problem. I think this fight coming up though, they're doing it at 185 because it's a short notice fight. He had another fight lined up. His opponent pulled out, and the new opponent came in. It's a guy from Boss Rutan's gym. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you how excited I am for this fight. A guy from Boss Rutan's gym is going to come in, step in, and take the fight. And here goes another guy, Luis Moreno. Luis Moreno, he fought a guy named Jonathan Montoya on Fighters Rep 10. I highly recommend you YouTube that. Jonathan Montoya versus Luis Moreno. Moreno came up short in that fight, but he learned a lot. It's a war. He's a come forward fighter. We had him on the podcast on Saturday. I remember we talked to him, and one thing that he said that was really interesting. He's from Rage, Coach Rage Ing's gym. They run the EYR division out of the Sweet Science Black House. I cannot wait to watch that fight. But Luis Moreno, he told me that one of their strategies, and I guess George told me this too, one of the strategies of Rage's gym is to come forward and go for the kill right off the bat. And I just think that's awesome, man. Like, he's a fun fighter to watch. I cannot wait for his fight. It's going to be exciting. Fighters Rep 12. It's on Friday night. You can join their YouTube channel for $9.99. Go to fightersrep.com. Find out how to join the YouTube channel. It's only $9.99. You can watch it from home, or you can go in attendance if there's still tickets. I'm not sure. You can find that out on fightersrep.com too. It's almost fight night. I would have got the tickets earlier. But that's all the info or all the news in today's sports. Highly suggest you go back and watch this video if you got time. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait for this weekend's fights. Like I say, Fight Club OC is tomorrow. The Fighters Rep is on Friday night. And if you're in the UFC, if you're hardcore, if you're really into, you can get into it. There's a UFC on Saturday. I think there's a Bellator event, but you know what? If Bellator is going to compete with Fighters Rep, I'm gonna always root for Fighters Rep. I'd rather watch Fighters Rep than see a Bellator event any day. Thank you for joining me. I'm gonna go ahead and head off. I like doing these on live stream because I don't do well just talking to the camera. I know even though I do still talk to the camera, I feel like I can just talk like normal on a live stream compared to talking to the camera, knowing that I have to edit it and it feels like it should be more polished. But thank you for joining me. Like and share this video. Subscribe. I would highly appreciate it. Follow Fight Life Nation on Instagram. We're also on Facebook, Fight Life Nation. Yeah, let me know how you think, guys. Feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what you're excited about to watch this week. Thank you.